Shaun of the Dead beats Hot Fuzz. Not just on IMDb by 0.1 out of 10, but also by the most important ranking of all, mine. Despite Hot Fuzz having great jokes, great action, superb characters, and generally an all-round noteworthy movie, I more easily find myself rewatching and loving every minute of Shaun of the Dead.
Oh, thank God for that.
And it is, in my correct opinion, the gold medal holder in this Cornetto trilogy.
Cornetto.
But why, you ask? What does this movie have that Hot Fuzz doesn't? Well, let's have a sit down and deconstruct the 5 reasons why Shaun of the Dead beats Hot Fuzz. Number 1. The everyman versus the policeman. Shaun is a reflection of the slobby, unfulfilled, failed romantic loser men watching this movie. And perhaps if that doesn't really reflect who you are today, you most likely have at least felt these feelings in the past, perhaps on many occasions. It is after all in our nature to be overly critical of ourselves, and that's where we can connect with this guy. So when you're presented with a character like Police Officer Nicholas Angel, a well-organised, highly efficient, smartly presented, athletic do-gooder, it's not so easy to feel this same connection.
Player 2 has left the game.
Also, public opinion of the police is rarely favourable. Despite the unfairness and ignorance with this relationship, no one really likes the idea of our world being watched or policed. Unless, of course, it works in your favour because someone kidnapped your kids. I think it's fair to say that watching someone who isn't a hero become a hero is a little more rewarding than watching someone who was already a hero getting to be a hero again. You can argue that this massively oversimplifies the story arc for Nick, but people are funny like that. We're quick to overlook facts based on our feelings. Just because a film won an Oscar doesn't mean it's a good movie. Does it, Toy Story 4? I relate to Shaun as a person, and when I watch this movie, I feel so much more connected. I also do feel more connected to its universe, which neatly brings us to point number 2. We belong in the same universe. The vast majority of British people, myself included, live in towns or cities very similar to this. I grew up near a corner shop just like this. I played PlayStation in a bedroom almost as filthy as this. And I worked a job in retail with this same level of boredom and unfulfillment.
Look, I know you don't want to be here forever. You know, I've got things I want to do in my life.
When?
So not only do we have a relatable protagonist, we can see ourselves being a part of this universe. Unlike Sandford, the type of place where no one lives, except for the people who are about to die. I discovered today that this fictional town of Sandford is actually a real place. It's a police training village in Cheshire. It's a clever little detail for you Hot Fuzz lovers to run home with. Point 3. The very real relatability of a zombie apocalypse. There are many psychological reasons why zombie films are so popular. For me, it appeals to the modern day stresses of monotony, the everyday boredom of paying bills, trying to stay healthy in an increasingly sedentary world, worrying about the future, trying to make enough time for friends and family while still having enough time to make YouTube videos. All of this would be a forgotten pastime in a zombie apocalypse. Because when the zombies have eaten all of my friends and family, I'll finally have time for YouTube videos. Oh, but there's no one here to watch them. You know, because my friends and family are dead. Point number 4. Mummy's dead and I feel sad. You know what Hot Fuzz is missing? People I care about. And with Mother's Day coming soon, it fills me with great pride to say there's no one else on earth I care about more than Shaun's mum. When she dies at the end of this movie, the emotion of that scene wasn't just effective because of Simon Pegg's incredible acting.
Stop it! Don't, please don't go!
We also felt the loss of their amazing bond. Their connection wasn't just strong, it was real.
I don't want to cause a fuss.
We're coming to get you, Barbara!
It was made real by the presentation of their history, a history of love and also disagreements, just like the real world.
I know you haven't always seen eye to eye, but I would at least expect you to respect my feelings.
This historic background between these two made the difference between this scene
Oh, no, come on.
and then the Hot Fuzz scene of Danny dying.
Hold on, Daddy, just hold on! Hold on, it's gonna be fine! It's gonna be fine.
What further softens this emotional blow, of course, is that Danny isn't actually dead. Back to Shaun of the Dead, one could argue that Ed isn't really dead. He's instead the living dead. But this ending that we're presented with is still evidence of change. This is a brand new world we're dealing with, and ultimately it's point 5, a happy ending with a disgusting, messy cleanup. What always works with zombie films is the inevitability that things will never return to the way they were before. And essentially for you as an audience member, your time watching a story hasn't been a waste. In my eyes, there's no good story if it hasn't brought about a significant change, either to the individual or the greater universe. And again, I want to stress that I'm in no way saying that Hot Fuzz is bad. For the most part, it's highly enjoyable. But when you think about his transformation, the only thing you can really say for Nick is that he learned to chill out a bit and not take everything so seriously. Now let's compare that to a man who managed to survive the zombie apocalypse, impressed his ex-girlfriend to the point where she gets back together with him, and he managed to rid of a few rivals along the way. With the end of the story in Hot Fuzz, the town of Sandford just seems to return to normal. But in Shaun's world, zombies are real now. And the best friend who was holding him back in life, but he simply couldn't let go of.
Oh, leave him alone!
Stop defending him, Shaun! All he ever does is hold you back!
Now lives in his own bubble, doing what he does best, playing games and rotting away in a chair. My boy is living the ultimate dream. Well, there we have it. Did this video sit well with you? Perhaps you disagree and prefer Hot Fuzz. If that's the case, maybe you might agree with my opinions on 28 Days Later and how it compares to 28 Weeks Later. Click here to see.